How you doing? I'm Jason with Adventures on a Budget, and I keep looking up because the view on the other side of the camera is absolutely stunning. I'm on the banks of the Withlacoochee River. I'm on the border of Hernando County and Sumter County. The river forms the border here. I'm about, maybe 6 miles north of Highway 50, right just a few miles from I-75. About an hour's drive north of Tampa, basically. And I'm taking a short hike today that costs nearly nothing, and it's something that you and your family can go do if you live in this area. If you live in other parts of the country, this can be a great idea for you to explore local resources and local parks that might be available to you. But take a quick look at this as I turn the camera around, hopefully without making you sick. This is the Withlacoochee River. It begins in Green Swamp, which is in Pasco County, north of Dade City, and flows northward along the borders of Hernando and Citrus County, the eastern border, and ends up in Yankeetown in the Gulf of Mexico. It is absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to show you a way to access it on foot. You can also do it by boat, but that'll be another video. And I'm going to show you a way to access this spot where I am standing right now, which happens to be a campground, but it can only be legally accessed either from the water or on foot. But it's not a long hike. I'm going to show you today, and come do this with your family. Get out, get away from the phones, get away from civilization, without being that far from civilization. As you might be able to see from earlier pictures and other videos, I'm a fat guy. I go about 290. I'm a few inches under 6 foot, and I have a bad back and at least one bad knee, and I had no trouble making this hike at all. This is not strenuous, but it is fun. And this stretch of the river flows completely through the Croom Tract of Withlacoochee State Forest. In other words, it's forest for miles on both sides for about 9 miles to the next town. It's absolutely stunning. Get outside, take your family. You don't have to spend a lot of money, and this is one of the ways I'm going to show you how to do it. Behind me is Silver Lake. Absolutely beautiful. It's part of the Withlacoochee River system that extends along the eastern borders of Hernando and Citrus County, and then follows the northern border of Citrus County out to the Gulf of Mexico, somewhere around Yankeetown. It's a beautiful day. As you can see, there's a few clouds. Weather predicts that it's going to be very sunny today and hot, but most of this hiking trail is under shade, under heavy shade actually. So it should be a beautiful day. We're hiking the Croom River Trail. This particular trail we'll be hiking is called the Low Water Trail, because this river fluctuates quite a bit. This time of year the water's fairly low, as you can see from the high water mark standing next to me. But right now the river's pretty low. So the low water hiking trail should offer us exactly what we're looking for today. Heavy shade, nice views of the river, and if we're lucky, we'll see some wildlife. The interstate is maybe 1/8 of a mile into the trail, where you pass under the interstate before you enter which is the Croom Tract of the Withlacoochee State Forest. And then it's several miles along the river of nothing but state forest. And even at the furthest point, the only sign of civilization is you can just barely hear the interstate. It's absolutely stunning, and this is a trip that you and your family can do. It's not difficult, as you'll see from pictures and different videos. I'm kind of a big guy with bad knees and a bad back, and it's no problem for me. It'll be roughly a 2-mile round trip that I'm doing today, and mostly flat along the river. So come along with me. It's going to be fun. The trail is marked periodically with these blue blazes. So if you're not sure you're still on the trail, you can look forward or go back to the last one you saw. You can usually see the next one within sight of the one you're at. See, there's the next one right there, just a few steps. Passing under the interstate. Nice and cool under here. The shade and the breeze coming from the lake really help keep it down, keep the temperature down under the bridge. Here's our intersection. As you can see from the sign here, the high water trail goes off to our left. We're going to take the low water trail. We've arrived at our first destination along this hiking trip. This is the Primitive Sites Campground. Now this is off season, so it's growed up quite a bit. They don't keep it mowed very well during the off season. But this is the first week of May, so it's not going to be used very much over the rest of the summer, so they don't mow it as often this time of year. But I wanted you to see these yellow bands. These trees along the border of the campground are lined with these yellow bands. And you're allowed to pitch a tent anywhere within this area you see here that has the yellow bands. And it's really quite beautiful to camp here. But legally, there's only 2 ways you can access this spot. First is by water. Second is on foot. Sorry for my ugly shoes, but they're comfortable. But this campground is very private, very quiet, and costs nothing. It's free to use this campsite other than paying the day use fee to park your car over there, which is $2. It's really quite stunning. But this would be your view when you wake up in the morning. The Withlacoochee River. Absolutely beautiful. I do want to take a moment to comment on the color of the water. This river is spring fed, and the water in it is actually extremely clean. Fish you catch in it, very safe to eat. The reason it has this dark color, though, is several of the species of trees that line the river, when they drop their leaves into the river, they release a chemical called tannic acid. It's the same kind of principle when you put tea leaves in water. Those leaves turn the water brown. It's not harmful to you, not harmful to the fish. In a pinch, I don't know that I would recommend it, but in a pinch you could drink the river. You could drink the water from the river. But I don't know that I'd recommend that. But if you ran out of water and you were in danger of dehydration, I think I'd risk the waterborne illness and have a couple sips just to get the heck out of here and then go visit the doctor. But just on a history note, I've lived here my entire life. I have swum in this river a bunch. Sorry. I've lived here my entire life. I have swam in this river a whole bunch. I've canoed it, fished it, eaten the fish, not eaten the fish, camped in this very site I'm standing on several times, and I've never failed to enjoy myself here. We've reached our second destination on our trip, the Iron Bridge Recreation Area. Now, the Iron Bridge Recreation Area, as I turn the camera, is actually on the other side of the river, as you can see. There are picnic tables and fishing areas, and you'll see more use of that on another video. But why it's called Iron Bridge, you see those big pilings out there, and there's some remnants of pilings over here on this side of the river. There used to be a railroad trestle that came across right here long time ago, and that's just what's left over from that bridge. Get outside, take your family. You don't have to spend a lot of money.